Welcome to Scale Model Basics. I'm Aaron Skinner, and we're going to be taking a look at dry brushing. This is a neat technique for raising the visual interest on the surface of your model. It's kind of the opposite of a wash. Washes flow into recesses and around detail, creating shadows. Dry brushing highlights raised details, so you get the effect of sunlight glinting off raised features on the full-size vehicle. The first thing you want to do before you dry brush the model is make sure you flat coat it. For washes, you want that gloss surface so the paint flows better. For dry brushing, that flat surface will catch the paint on the brush as you drag it across the surface. So the principle behind dry brushing is you're going to apply a lighter shade of the base color. That's what gives you those highlights. For this whippet that you might remember from the wash video, I used Ammo by Meg Jimenez Green Moss. This is a World War I British color. So that's what I have. Now this is an acrylic. I'm not usually my preference to dry brush with acrylics. I find that they dry just a little too quickly and tend to ball up in the brush and give you kind of this rougher texture. I like enamels or artist oils because I think they feather a little better because they have a slightly longer drying time. But this is the color that I use, so we'll start with that. And I have a color to lighten it with. This is not white. I don't recommend lightening with white unless you're using a very light gray, because it tends to make the paint look chalky at those edges where you're dry brushing, and you don't want that. It tends to make the model look frosted rather than highlighted. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of actually mixing the paint. So I'm going to take the moss, or the green moss, squirt some into my container here, and then I'll take the color I'm using to lighten, and I just want to add a drop or two. Now, if you're looking for a fixed ratio for this, there really isn't one. What you want to do is start with a few drops, see what it looks like on the model. If you think it needs more, add more. But you don't want to go too far too quickly, because it's harder to fix too light dry brushing than it is to add a little bit more of the lighter color and reapply it. So I'll go ahead and mix that up. All right, I think I actually want to add just another drop of this, just to make it a little bit lighter. I may exaggerate this for the purposes of the video so you guys can see it a little clearer. See the effect. Once you're satisfied with the color you want, take your brush. Now, I guess I should talk about the kind of brush you want to use for dry brushing. You want something with a flat head on it and slightly stiffer bristles. This is a good way to repurpose an older brush that you might have worn the bristles out a little bit, because it is going to get some wear and tear from the dry brushing technique. But the stiffer bristles catch the detail a little bit better. You want to try and keep it clean, because dry brushing, the paint will dry on these bristles because it's dry brushing, so you want to clean it occasionally. So as far as the technique goes, pick up a little bit of paint on the bristles. You don't want to soak them, and then drag the brush repeatedly back and forth on a paper towel. You want to remove almost all of the paint from those bristles. You know it's about ready to actually dry brush when you can't see any more paint coming off the bristles. And then you just drag that across the raised detail that you want to highlight. And I'm thinking I might want to add a little bit more of the light shade there. This is where checking your work helps. There's some trial and error always involved in this, because you want to get the effect you're looking for. And you should start to see that those bald heads, the edges of these hatches are starting to pop a little bit. This is a little bit more extreme than I would normally do, but I wanted you guys to be able to see the effect. And again, you can always apply more. You just work your way around all of the salient points on the model. can work on edges too. You'll notice I'm actually kind of scrubbing a little bit. That can help, particularly along edges. This is why the brush is going to take a bit of a beating. I'm going to turn it onto its side so we can see, because we got lots of raised detail down here. All right, so you can see, like along this line here, it really picked out that detail and popped it against the background. That pistol port, the various road wheel attachment points, suspension attachment points here really picked up that lighter shade, and it just gives it a little pop against the background. A nice way of raising the level of detail on your model. So that's dry brushing. It's a great technique for raising that interest level in your model. Combines really well with washes. It's one of those layering effects we use when we talk about weathering a model, and it works really well. Now, I like a subtler approach. Some people like it a little bit more contrasty. You know, figure out what you like and what your vision for your model is. It's subjective. It's one of these subjective techniques, what you want your model to look like. So that's dry brushing. Thanks for watching. I'm Aaron Skinner.